engine temperature's staying at 201. Oh, there's 203. There we go. Made it. Alright, so you guys asked for it, and here you go. This is a little update video on how the 07 F-150 that I did all the engine work and everything else to actually replace the entire engine, did a lot of front end work to probably, what, 2 years ago now or so? I can't remember, something like that. Well, the truck currently has, I think about, what is it, 226,000? Oh, 216,000. Yeah, it hadn't been driven near as much as I thought. There's a couple things we got to do. First off, we got a blower. Oh, where did I put the part? I think it's in here. Yep, there we go. Got a blower motor resistor I got to put in. Speed number one, the low speed quit working, and 9 out of 10 times is a burnt up resistor, so I'm gonna put that in there. The biggest problem that we had right now, unfortunately, I just kind of noticed it after it was parked. We got back from towing a trailer and saw a leak from underneath the truck. There's just a little dampness. So I'm like, man, what's going on here? Because I'm trying to keep the driveway looking nice and pretty out there. So I look at it, and it looks like it's leaking from the steering gear down there. And I thought, oh, great. I knew I probably should have replaced that when I had everything apart. So I thought, well, it's not even forming a drip yet, so I'll just wait. We drove the truck again, parked it on the driveway, and left a puddle about the size of that. Then we simply moved the truck from the driveway to the street, and after we parked it there, it left about a 3-foot diameter puddle. I thought, okay, something's seriously wrong here. So let me show you what I found. So right there is the steering gear, and as you can see, that's where it was leaking from. All the lines looked okay, didn't see anything wrong with it. I mean, kept looking around, kept trying to find it. A little residue there, but at this point you can't really tell what's just, you know, blown around from another leak. So I got to looking closer and found out that the return line from the gear to the cooler, this is the cooler assembly right here. The cooler helps keep the transmission fluid cool, and then it goes back into the reservoir up top. Well, there's a line that goes from the gear to this cooler here. Let me show you what I found. The line had become so rusted that it literally just rusted through and then started pouring fluid. But the thing that made this job even more challenging was when I tried to get the old line out, it was so rusty the line just came apart. So there's the cause of our leak right there. I kicked myself for not replacing this when I had the engine out. It would have made it much easier to get to. But fortunately, I was able to grab the piece that broke off inside the steering gear with a vice grip, wiggle it back and forth, and eventually work it loose, and it finally came out. It had just been in there for so long, it kind of adhered itself or rusted itself onto the steering gear. It didn't want to come out very easily. So I went over to the old AutoZone and got a replacement line. It was only about 25 bucks. The new line is installed. So you can see there, got the little bracket on that holds it in place. And then it runs around here and connects to the cooler there. And then goes back up to the reservoir. And lucky for me, I've got plenty of Ford Mercon V transmission fluid and power steering fluid. Nice. You're going to want to fill it up and then wait a little bit for it to purge the air out. So give it a minute or two and then top it off again. Now here's another little tip for you. When I first started out turning wrenches at the Chevrolet dealer years ago, at this point I'd go back in the truck, fire it up, and then the power steering pump would howl like crazy, and I'd just hope that it'd go away. Get around that without having to get all that air in the system. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start it up, let it idle for a second, and then shut it right off. That sucked down a lot more fluid. So let's add a little bit more. Make sure we don't run out, because then it'll aerate really bad. Crank her up again. Shut down. And you'll want to keep repeating those last few steps until the reservoir fluid level stabilizes between startups and shutdowns. Now we've gotten to a point where it's pretty much stabilized, so I'm going to top it off, start it up, let it idle, check for leaks. Fluid level in there looks good. Let's get underneath and check for leaks. And that's great. Looking dry as a bone there. And as you can see, nice and quiet steering. One last check of the power steering fluid level. As you can see, it's a little bit above the max line, but that's all right. As the rest of the tiny little droplets of air work their way out of there, it'll come down to somewhere between the max and the min line. And that's all we need to do. Job's done. You might want to remember to put that cap on and turn your flashlight off. Now let's move on to the next project, the blower motor resistor. This blower motor resistor, which is tucked up in here underneath the passenger side of the dash. Check it for damage, make sure there's no burnt terminals. Usually Ford doesn't have this problem. It's GMs that like to burn the terminals up and catch fire. Looks like those are 8 millimeters. So get yourself a little ratchet, take that out, and out comes the old resistor. Then you just take your new resistor pack right here. You plug the connector back in. The resistor pack just slides into the HVAC box and has air flowing around it to keep it cool. And then that's all that's to it. It's a real simple and easy fix. So let's see if this takes care of our problem. So there's 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice. Problem solved. The only other couple things I had to do outside of that was do the front axle seals. Again, something I definitely should have done before while I was replacing the engine, because it would have been so much easier just to get to everything, but oh well, it really wasn't that bad of a job. Got it done all right. The real pain was these stupid Dorman exhaust manifolds. Dormans aren't on there anymore, so there's no problem there. There's regular Motorcraft exhaust manifolds on there now. But if any of you guys go to do this job, stay away from Dorman exhaust manifolds. They are junk. The first set I put on there lasted about a year and they cracked. So fortunately Rock Auto was kind enough to warranty the part. I sent them back. They sent me brand new ones, no hassle. Spent all the hours of labor and jacking the engine up and all the hassle that goes into that. Put the replacement Dormans on. Boy, what a mistake that was. And 1 year they cracked again in the exact same place. So here I am doing the job all over again. I told Rock Auto what was going on. Again, quality Rock Auto. They refunded me the money this time instead of just sending me a replacement part because I wanted Motorcraft and they didn't have Motorcraft. So I got the factory manifolds from a local Ford dealer, and hopefully these will last longer. But yeah, just a tip of advice for you guys: stay away from Dorman exhaust manifolds. They're junk. If I were to say one other thing though, and I'm not, at this point I'm not even worried about it and I'm not even going to mess with it anymore, are these stupid vacuum actuated hubs. There's a very small vacuum leak in here somewhere. I don't know if it's a check valve hanging up or what it is, but whenever the engine gets under load, after about a minute or a minute and a half of being under load, the hubs lose vacuum and they'll start to try to re-engage. So then the hubs start grinding up in front. So the simple solution to that is all you do is you unplug that little solenoid that actuates those stupid things, and then they just stay locked in the whole time. And since they're CV joints and the axle seals are brand new and not leaking, everything's good, I'm not worried about it. You just let it run, let it sit there and spin in four-wheel drive while you're towing. And then when you go back to normal driving, you just plug the little connector back in there, and then they'll disengage. I don't know if it helps you get better fuel mileage or not. That's just what they say, but anyway. Outside of that, everything's been good. Can't complain. Nice little work truck to have here. It tows great. It rides fine. My wife loves it, and I think it'll be quite useful. So now you know a little bit more about fixing or repairing your truck daily. Hope you guys enjoyed this little video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. and I'll see you next time. How about you turn the key on there
Okay.
and see if the AC works now.
Let me finish chewing my Oreo cookie first.
Did you steal one of my Oreos?
The ones with the orange cream in them.
How dare you steal one of my Oreos? You know what? Just for that, no, you don't get any AC.